All right, y'all. It is time to shine. It is time to shine. Welcome, everyone, to the Run the Jewelz podcast show. And King Jewelz here. We are locked and loaded, ready for another very special season of the RTJ show. If this is your first time joining us, I'm Julian Smartrimple, King Jewelz. We are literally going into our next season for RTJ with the star-studded lineup. And so if this is your first time joining us, the RTJ Lifestyle Show was created to spread inspiration to young professionals and millennial entrepreneurs who want to learn wisdom on how to shine brighter in their careers or in their business. And so if you are a millennial, big up to our millennial audience. If you are a Gen Zer, or even if you are a baby boomer, we still got love for all of our baby boomers out there. Big up to the baby boomers that are tuning in. But you are in the right place to hear all the jewels of wisdom, my very special guest. If you are interested, we only have maybe 1 or 2 slots left for this season and guests to apply to be on the show. If you are interested, though, you can fill out our guest interest form that we're putting in the comment section below. You can fill out the interest form, and our team will look through your data that you submitted to see if you will be able to go to the next of being one of our VIP Smart Jewelz guests for the RTJ podcast. And we give a big appreciation to all of VIP guests thus far that have been a part of the podcast movement and also our podcast show. And so thank you all to our VIP listeners and also our VIP guests. You can listen to the RTJ podcast on all streaming platforms that you listen to your favorite music artists or your favorite podcast. Just search for the Run the Jewelz podcast. And you could also catch us exclusively on Wisdom and also on Twitter Spaces, which are our audio listening platforms that we give first access to our VIP jewels that listen to us on those 2 platforms, and also some of our Smart Jewel listeners that have been tracking with us since season 1, now all the way to our current season. And so shout out to our Wisdom Twitter Space listeners. Also, if you have any questions, we are a live Q&A interview style podcast. And so I'm just the host. But if you have any questions for my VIP guest at any time, you can ask in the comment section. Shout out to any of our guests that are tuning in here on StreamYard, or even if you're on Wisdom or Twitter listening in, you can ask any questions of my VIP guest, and we'll do our best to try to answer them as we can. And so without further ado, those are all of my housekeeping. We're about to be starting our live Q&A session. This very special guest that I'm about to bring on to the stage, I met this queen literally a couple weeks ago at one of my friends and also business partners, Brandy Washington, was hosting a vision board party, literally getting ourselves ready and also getting ourselves right for the new year. And so I talked to her and one of her friends, shout out to King Emmanuel, and also my very special VIP guest at the end of the event, because it was a lot of positive energy. It was a lot of creativity that were flowing through the event. And so we wanted to definitely tap in and also connect with young professionals and entrepreneurs like my very special guest that I'm getting ready to bring onto the stage that are doing tremendous impact and also tremendous work in the community teaching health and wellness, teaching the importance of travel. She's very cold. She's literally hailing by way of the Caribbean. So shout out to all the West Indians and the West Indian natives. Big up. We always show support to those who are of West Indian or Caribbean descent. And I literally told her I wanted her to come on the show and talk to us about her wellness journey and how she's been on a mission to heal and to also set free a lot of individuals in our community that are struggling with sickness, illness, disease, infirmities, you name it. And she literally has taken the journey to be a healer and to also teach and show others how they can also heal themselves naturally, holistically. And that's a big component on our RTJ podcast show, talking about health and wellness. And so I'm about to get ready to get out the way, and I'm going to let you all be introduced to my very special guest on talking to us today about how to align your mind, your body, and spirit for generational health and wealth. Again, we're going to be talking about generational health and wealth with my very special guest, LaTajah, who is going to be sharing a wealth of wisdom with us this afternoon. And so let me get ready to bring my very special VIP guest on. How you doing, Queen?
Hello, I'm feeling amazing. How are you?
Everything is going well. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule, first and foremost, to come on and drop the jewels with us today. As I said, I wanted to set you up to let people know a little bit of how we came to meet and connect, but tell people about your background. Tell people where you're originally from, like your hometown that you were born in, and also where you are currently streaming with us today. And then why is this an important subject you think to talk to people about?
Most definitely. Much gratitude for that introduction. I loved it. And I appreciate you for having me on. So, of course, it was no problem to just take the time out of my schedule and join. So, like you said, my name is LaTajah Lassus. I'm here on behalf of my brand, Holistic Habits. And it's a safe space for people that are just wanting to align their mind, body, and spirit and do it in a fun way using creative things that you already do every day, like listen to music, move your body, and meditation. So these are simple things that you already may do or want to incorporate into your daily routine. And so the purpose of, and the importance of having this conversation is because just the world that we live in today does not make these simple habits readily available or just known growing up, right? So these are important things that can really shift your mindset, really shift just the way that you interact with the world. And so I am born from a Cuban dad and a Bahamian and Black mom, and they met here in Miami. And so I am actually here streaming from Miami. I'm back home for the holidays, but I live in Atlanta. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I started this journey back in 2020. And I'm here today to spread all of the knowledge and the wisdom that I've accumulated over the years so that other people can begin their journey or continue their journey wherever they are.
I love it. I love it. And I know you're in some sunny Miami weather. I know I'm a little jealous myself. It's cold and chilly still here in the ATL, but I'll be in Trinidad and TNT a little bit later this month. I'm gonna be
Hey,
right back in the sun and also in the warm weather, just like you are too. And so we appreciate you,
yes,
Queen, and definitely coming on and sharing your wisdom with us today. And again, if any of our listeners that are listening in StreamYard, or even if you are listening on Wisdom or Twitter to get exclusive access to our interview today with my very special VIP guest, LaTajah, who's going to be sharing a wealth of knowledge when it comes to health and wellness and holistic healing towards generational health. Well, feel free to type in the private chat that we have access to here in Stream. If you're one of our StreamYard users, or if you're on Wisdom or Twitter, feel free to come on to the stage. But LaTajah, let's start from the beginning. I know when we
yes,
had met, you were telling me that you've been on a plant-based or a vegan / alkaline journey for a little while now. And so, like, what even got you in the mindset to want to go into holistic health or into being plant-based? Like, did you get shown by a teacher? Did you have someone in the family? or in your friendship circles that introduced you to holistic health and wellness? Like, talk to us about how did you get into this field?
Yes. So actually, how my journey kind of started, it didn't start with food. It actually started with mental health. And so since I was a young girl, I've always used performing and creativity to express myself. But I had witnessed a lot of trauma growing up, and, just a lot of things that a young child should not have to witness growing up. And so it led to me not really having all the coping mechanisms that I felt that I needed in order to kind of just deal with my emotions going into college. So as a child, like I've always been expressive and things like that. But somehow when I got to college and I started to just be introduced to these different like unhealthy coping mechanisms, like going out to parties and just hanging out all times of the night and drinking and smoking and da 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 da. It just it really took a toll on my mental health because I was distracting myself from all of these different traumas that I experienced, and I didn't know how to sit with myself. I would always try to go in the external world and try to I was just in denial. Let me just put it short, keep it short. I was in denial about all the things that had an effect on me since a young girl. And so, of course, I knew I wanted a better life because I came out to Atlanta to, pursue higher education and things like that. Mind you, no one in my family ever went to college. I'm first generation graduate from Clark Atlanta University. And so it was a bittersweet moment when I had just came to college knowing that I wanted to be better than my environment, but not feeling like I had the resources and the guidance to fully get me there. So, I just went down this dark time of just depression. I was very depressed, very sad, very anxious. And my way of dealing with that was to go party. Like I didn't know what else to do. I was in like these party promotion groups, hanging out with friends all the time. Like that was my way. Like that was it was cool, right? Until I ended up developing an illness called irritable bowel syndrome. And that was due to excessive drinking. And so let me just tell y'all, IBS is not anything to play with because those pains are like they feel like labor pains. Like, oh my goodness, it was terrible. Like anytime I would try to eat, my food wouldn't digest properly. Like it was terrible. And so that's what led me to actually trying out a natural remedy. Shout out to my grandfather from Miami because he actually put me onto this. It's called a moringa seed. And so with the moringa seed, he literally told me all you have to do is break the seed down, crush it up, drink some water. And I did that consistently because I didn't know what else to do because the medicine that they were giving me at the hospital wasn't working. And so I tried this consistently. This was my first time like being consistent with like any supplements or anything. And so when I tell y'all, after about 2 to 3 months of consistently drinking this moringa seed every morning, y'all, I didn't have no pain in my stomach. I was so happy because that pain was crazy. Like it got so bad that I wouldn't eat. I would starve myself because the pain was so unbearable. So that was my first time being introduced to like natural remedies. So that was back in like 2019-ish. Yeah. And so when the pandemic hit, right, I just was going through, or everyone was going through so much darkness, so much just isolation. And that made me curious. I'm like, why am I experiencing this? Why? I just started to get curious and questioning why I was having this experience. Why were we all having this experience of the pandemic where we couldn't go and socialize with the world? We had to social distance. I just didn't understand it. And so that's what kind of started my journey of just wanting to know more, right? Like even when I found out about the natural remedies, I thought it was just like, oh, okay, like this is a natural way to do it. That didn't really make me dig deeper into it until I started having those mental health challenges. And so once I started to do my research, I was like, okay, let me try some different methods to heal. That's when I got into like meditation. That's when I got into like the yoga, the going out in nature. I tapped back into poetry because I've always been a poet, but it was just that I was so focused on trying to ignore my problems that I wasn't sitting with myself to even write a poem. So I got back into those things, and it really helped me just express my experience, right? And just talk about what I was going through. So that's kind of how I got into it. So it was more so, I'm not going to say it wasn't just the physical health, but it was a mixture. But more importantly, it was the mental health that really opened my eyes to be like, you need to sit down. you need to find better ways to deal with your problems. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. I actually, let me, before you get back into it, I want to say this. So this is another part of why I started to take it more seriously. For me, it felt like I was trying to live two lives. Even when I had all this wisdom and this information that I was coming into, I still was not taking it seriously. Like I would literally watch these podcasts. I would go yoga, I would do yoga, I would meditate, I would go out in nature, right? But then on the other hand, I was still engaging with toxic environments. I was still going out partying. I was still being around people that were living doing those old habits that I wasn't trying to engage anymore. So it's like, it got to a point where it's like, I cannot try to juggle having these two different lives. I have to choose one, and it doesn't mean I don't go out and party or have a good time, but it's about your intention behind it. Now I don't do it to escape. I do it to celebrate myself. And that's just not the only way I celebrate. Of course, there's different ways to celebrate, but it's all about the intention. Everything has to be intentional. Okay. So I'm gonna end with that.
Nah, Queen, you walking good, as my cousin says. That's Trini. You definitely are dropping a ton of jewels when it comes to, again, separating yourself from the pack. You're dropping a ton of jewels right there, LaTajah, when it comes to literally separating yourself and also doing things different from what you may or may not have seen growing up. That is why we are here, you all. We're talking to, again, LaTajah. She's literally a Gen Zer that is doing some major internal work to make sure that she is healing herself so that she can show you and also others how to also heal themselves internally, holistically. And I know we did have some questions coming in for you too. I wanted to make sure that anybody who is watching or listening to us, feel free to ask any questions in the chat, or even if you're on Wisdom or Twitter listening in, feel free to also come on the stage and ask LaTajah any questions. But I know we had one question coming in for you, Queen, before we continue.
All right.
I want to say Mova Faye asked, would you say that eating more high vibrational food and surrendering more creative individual contribute to your creative expression? And so thank you for your question too. What do you think with this one?
Much gratitude for this question, because honestly, the answer is yes and yes, yes, yes. It most definitely did contribute to my creative expression, because I found that when I was eating meat heavily, I would feel so heavy, and I would feel, it was like I would be having like mood swings and stuff. Like internally, I would think I'm okay, but then something will happen and I'm like just responding like I'm either sad or I'm just angry. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, this is not even me. That's not in my spirit to be that way. And so I realized once I cut out all that meat, I started to feel so light and I started to feel happier. Why? Because the meats that they are having in these stores, first of all, it has all these chemicals, these hormones, all of these things that are affecting you internally. They're affecting your bloodstream. They're affecting all of these different systems in your body. And so I realized that once I started to just be more intentional about the food that I eat, y'all, when I say my artistry got so much just aligned with my spirit, because for me, I use creativity as a way to express all my emotions, not just the good emotions, the bad ones too. But I realized my mindset, it brought more awareness to my mindset, because I'm gonna just give it to y'all raw. So like I used to create like poems about like just people that, you know, I dealt with in the past or whatever the case may be. And I realized that some of those poems and some of those songs and stuff like that, like some of them was a little aggressive. I'm like, oh, where is this coming from? Like, you upset? Like, and now it's just like I'm able to deal with it in a way that's aligned with who I actually am, and not just, you know, all those hormones and stuff that I was having to push fast and things like that. So I say it definitely had an effect on my creativity, because I was able to become more aware of my true emotions and not those emotions that are masked, you know? So yes, thank you for that question. I love that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have one more too coming in from Mova also asked,
Oh,
said,
that's mother.
do you Mother, I'm sorry, Mother Faye. Shout out to Mother Faye. Big up Mother Faye. She also asked, Mother said, do you think you were feeding the ego because you were ashamed of the version of yourself that wasn't in alignment with the old version of you? And so what do you think about this question
Ooh.
right here?
Wow, this is a beautiful question, because honestly, yes, I think that a part of me was ashamed of the fact that I was okay. This is going to be a two-part answer. A part of me was ashamed at the fact that I was the only one, like I feel like in my circle, that was coming to these realizations and this awareness at the time. And so I felt alone. And so I felt like I had to fit in with the people that were in my circle at the time, because they weren't growing, or they weren't growing at the same rate that I was, but I was. So I felt ashamed, because I'm like, okay, I love these people. I don't want to leave them behind. And I don't want them to feel like I think I'm better than them because I'm having these realizations and I'm growing and getting this wisdom. And so part of me felt ashamed that I was growing. And then a part of me was ashamed of myself, because when I say, there was times where I would like just look at my old videos on Instagram. You know how you can like archive your post and your story and stuff like that. I would look at it and I would just like shake my head, and I would be like, man, this is what I was into. This is what was exciting me. Like, you know, and so I was ashamed. And so I think that that was a journey in itself of having to integrate that shadow side, that side of me that I wasn't proud of, and then integrating that with the part of me that accepts myself fully and has unconditional love for myself, regardless if I am, you know, this negative or just shadow side of me, and the light side of me as well. So I think definitely that was a two-parter. Like I was ashamed of just both ends of the spectrum. And so yeah, it took for me to integrate those. And this is a continuous practice. That doesn't mean I'm fully integrated or I'm fully in alignment. Like this is a continuous and conscious decision to continue this journey of integrating those parts of me that I may not be, you know, proud of, and then the parts of me that I'm most definitely proud of. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's real, and being vulnerable, because no matter whether we're in our 20s, 30s, or 40s and up, you can't escape your inner self, no matter how much we run away from it, and we gotta
That's
back
right.
at the past and make a different future in the present if we want to change and transform and elevate, as I like to say. And so you're dropping
Mm-hmm.
with that, Queen.
Yeah.
We honor our sponsor for the episode VIP sponsor, and then we're going to come back to you, LaTajah, in one quick second. So each and every episode, we do have a VIP sponsor that does sponsor our videos and also our podcast episodes. So we're going to let you all see who our VIP sponsor is for today. If you are interested, if you're a small business owner or entrepreneur and you want to have your business highlighted or showcased on our international podcast or our Smart Jewelz network of podcasts and content, feel free to click the link that we're putting in the comment section. But without further ado, let's see who our VIP here is for to do all. Let's take a look. So again, shout out to our VIP sponsor for today's episode, which comes from none other than ExpressVPN. If you are a traveler, if you're someone that again travels internationally, especially and to shield you from hackers, to again have a more seamless process to tapping into international Wi-Fi's or networks abroad. Definitely look into ExpressVPN. It's one of the top 3 VPNs that are active right now. Currently, our team, when we travel internationally and abroad, we swear by ExpressVPN. But just by being one of our Smart Jewel listeners, you can receive a 30-day VPN for free by clicking the link that's in the comment section below. And also shout out to StreamYard, our affiliate partner for all of our episodes that we're streaming live today's episode on. You could also use the exclusive link that we're dropping in the comment section below to get $10 off discounted pricing on when you join a package today. And so shout out to ExpressVPN and also StreamYard being our VIP affiliates and sponsors for today. But back to you, LaTajah. We just wanted to honor our VIP sponsor, ExpressVPN. Like stay with that point that you were mentioning right before the commercial break, Queen, when it comes to like being in your 20s and seeing like how you were in the party mindset, the lifestyle, especially being here in Atlanta, being in the AUC with all Spell House, Clark, and also Morris Brown now is active. Like, how did you get to that moment of like, I need to do something different from the rest of my peers because you're surrounded off MLK by all the hot wing spots. They got all the I call it savage food, but when it comes to all the fast food spots that are in the AUC area, like and wanting to again like go counter the culture, especially being in an HBCU environment here in Atlanta at the AUC, like how did some of your friends look at you? How did some of your family members look at you? Did you catch any flack or any ridicule? Did people make fun of you, especially being that you were just coming out of college around that frame? Talk to us about your story when it came to telling other people that you were doing something different than the regular norm.
Yes. So I'm going to touch on that last point first, and then I'm going to go back to that turning point. So I grew up in two different cultures. My mom, again, was black and my mom is black and Bahamian, and my dad was born in Cuba. So I've always struggled with like identity and like feeling like an outsider and just being different. And so when I made the decision to go, actually, I started off transitioning first to being pescatarian and only eating seafood, and I did that for about 3 years. And so even with that, my family would just they'd be like, "Oh, like you don't eat meat, like what's wrong with you?" Da 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 da, like and it just would be like a lot of questions, like why, and different things like that. And my friends, they were supportive to an extent. They just, you know, it was just like everyone else is like eating meat or eating whatever, and I was just more so like conscious of what I was eating. And so it was like having to have those alternatives when we would like get together and eat food together and different things like that. So it wasn't like a major thing. But then when I made the decision to go plant-based, like it go vegan, like my family, they started making fun of me. I remember it was this event a couple months back. And we were all just chilling. And my uncle, he's like a comedian. He got on the microphone. He was like, so y'all know Tay is vegan. Raise your hand if y'all want to try some vegan food. And nobody raised their hand. It was so funny. So like I'm used to being like an outsider. I'm used to being different. So it wasn't like a major thing for me, but it was just like, okay, like y'all go, I'm gonna keep being the joke, I guess. But I'm okay with it now. I've come to terms with it. Before growing up, it used to eat me up because my friend, like my family, they would, just say like little things about me being Cuban and stuff like that. But now I'm just like, okay. But let's get into this turning point and when I really had to decide if I was gonna be conscious and be intentional about my lifestyle, or if I was gonna keep trying to live two different lives. So this was after the pandemic, right when it was my senior year of college, right when it was that transition back into, I don't want to say normal life, but it was post pandemic, right? And I was back home in Miami. I was visiting, there was like this carnival fair that they do in Miami, right? And so I'm at the fair, I'm living my best life, I'm eating all this junk food, like not even just normal. Like I was eating everything, like all the what was it, fried Oreos, the corn, like I was just eating a lot, right? Like over consuming, drinking, whatever, right? And I passed out and I had to go to the hospital. And this was the turning point for me when I knew I really had to make a change in my life. I had to be all in because I was scared for my life. Like I didn't know if I was gonna make it. I didn't know what was wrong with me. It was just I was so worried. I was like, why am I experiencing this? So come to find out, I had developed something called I still have trouble saying it because it's so complex. Arterioventricular heart block. And so this means that my heart beats at an irregular pace. And this can be for many reasons, but I believe it was because of like the excessive like smoking that I was doing at the time. And so when that happened, I was just so devastated because I'm like, first of all, I don't like being in the hospital. And this was still post-pandemic, so there was like a limit on like the amount of visitors that could come visit me. And my mom, she would visit me during the daytime, but I just had a lot of time alone in the hospital, and I had to sit with myself. And I didn't like being in that predicament. Like I didn't like laying in that hospital bed and not knowing what was going to happen next, because they were running tests. They were saying they didn't know what was wrong. They just knew it was something about my heart. And I'm like, my heart? Like, this is what keeps me beating. This is what keeps me alive. Something can't be wrong with my heart. What's going on? And so I really think, and I really believe, and I know actually that was my ancestors telling me, like, sweetie, wake up. This is not a choice anymore. This is what you have to do. You have to make these total life changes, or it's going to cost you your life. And so, from that point on, I knew that I had to take it seriously. I knew I had to take my wellness more seriously. But this time I had to do it from a new perspective, because I was already making those changes, but I felt like I was missing out on something. I felt like I was missing out on the fun of being young and turn, right? And so I came into it with a different mindset. I was like, let me do it in a fun way. Let me make it fun to make these changes. Let me believe that I'm challenging myself. Let me make it a game so that I'm more motivated, so I can really track my progress. And so I started to use strategies, and I started to use my creativity to motivate me. Like I literally create like raps and poems and dances about just being well, being healthy, being wealthy, so that now it's not like this serious thing where I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna die. Like people, these you like you gotta be careful with some of these healers and these conscious people, because it can be, sometimes they can make you feel fearful and they make you do things out of fear. But the ultimate unconditional love for self is what's to be the ultimate motivator, the ultimate reason why you're doing and making these changes. Because if you're just going based off of fear, guess what? All of your emotions that you feel, it's just energy and motion. And if you're not allowing yourself to express the journey, sometimes you may like struggle, and one day you may not go to the gym. But if you beat up on yourself and you like, man, if I don't get into this gym today, I'm just gonna be fat. I'm just gonna have a heart attack. Like that's not positive self-talk. That isn't the way you should talk to yourself, right? And so you have to be able to have balance. You have to give yourself grace. And so that's what I learned to do. I learned to give myself grace. I learned to make the journey fun. And I learned to track my progress. And that's what actually was why I started my brand, Holistic Habits, because that was the way for me to hold myself accountable. Because it's like, let me display and showcase my journey to wellness. So maybe that can inspire other people to do it as well. And so that led to me writing my book. It's called Into the Jungle. It is all about entering the jungle within. And so it's really a guide in a journal to help you create these different strategies and use your creativity in an intentional way so that you can make it fun, make it a game to heal yourself, because you already have everything you need inside of you to get where you want to be at. But it's not until you start to give yourself grace and make it more intentional. Everything that you do should be intentional. So with that, let me just give y'all this. Right now, it's about to be a new year, right? This is the time where everybody said, oh, this is my vision. This is, the goals that I have for myself. Okay, you say that. So let's make sure that these goals and these things that you set for yourself, they're in alignment with what source, with what God, with the universe, whatever you believe in, wants for you. Because if you're trying to align yourself to this vision, to these goals, that's not even for you, guess what? You're setting yourself back. So let me assist y'all, give y'all some tools that y'all can use to actually propel you forward. Okay. So the first thing that I want to give y'all is that in order to change your life, change your mindset, you have to change your routine. You can't expect to get something different if you're doing the same things, because there's a saying, doing the same thing over and over is insanity, because you're not allowing yourself to become a vessel and open yourself up to new experiences, because you already think you know what's going to happen next. All right. So we want to be able to change our routine, step outside of what you're used to so that you can redefine your vision. Okay. And you want to let source guide your steps. So you have to do things that is going to quiet your mind. That's why I believe in meditation. And meditation is not just sitting down, closing your eyes, or whatever the case may be like that. No, you're literally you can walk on the beach. You can walk outside in nature. That's a form of meditation. Anything that helps you to relax your mind, body, and spirit, that's a form of meditation. Even if you're playing a guitar or something, that's a meditation, right? And so I'm going to give y'all 3 things that can help you quiet and clean your mind, body, and spirit. So the first thing that I recommend to clean your body is to detox. Okay. This can be, you can detox. Me personally, I detox every month, and I'll do 7 days of just fruit or just fruit and veggies. So whichever you feel would be, whichever you feel would be more, whichever is calling you, whether you want to do fruit and veggies or just fruit, that's definitely something that I recommend. Or some people do like smoothies, where they do 7 days of smoothies, if that's easier, or juicing. I stand by juicing, for real. I love juicing. So the first thing you want to do is clean your body. Why? Because when your body is clear, guess what? Source, God, whatever you call, whatever you believe in, you're able to have more communication. Because when you're worrying, when you're partying, when you're overthinking, if you're around negative people, if you're in toxic environments, guess what? You're not going inward. You're not listening to that inner guidance that's trying to tell you what to do and how to move so that you can become that person you want to become, to receive that abundance that you're looking for, to get in alignment with your generational health and wealth that's already yours, because that's your birthright. It's already yours. You don't have to fight for it. All you have to do is receive it. But you first have to align your mind, body, and spirit, right? So detox your body. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I would recommend, and if you can do it, because some people run their business on social media, but if you can, do a social cleanse. Fast from social media from a few days. Or if you aren't able to do that, guess what? If you're seeing like stuff on your feed that is in alignment with your goals and your vision and what you need to be seeing, unfollow people. It's okay to unfollow people. If they take it personal, oh well, keep it moving. Like at the end of the day, you have to protect your peace. You have to protect the things that your spirit's interacting with, because if not, you're just taking in things that you don't need, right? And you want to make sure you're being intentional. And another thing I recommend for the social cleanse, a lot of these group chats with a lot of people, it's important you got to limit those outside noises and distractions, because a lot of people talk, but a lot of people just want to be heard, and it's not intentional. It's not what you need to hear. So if you need to leave group chats for a couple days, if you need to tell whoever, your friends, y'all, I'm doing a social cleanse, because this is what I did during the pandemic. I was having a lot of time to just sit with myself and be in stillness. Don't be afraid of going within. That's why my book is called Enter the Jungle, because it can be a jungle within. It can be chaotic. But once you sit and embrace it, you'll realize that these are just messages communicating that whatever you need to work on is just telling you whatever you need to work on. That's all. So first thing I said was detox your body. Second thing, do a social cleanse. Fast from social media for a little bit. Leave those group chats for a little bit so you can really see what's going on internally and see the things you need to work on. Don't be afraid to hold that mirror up. Try to just, give yourself grace. That's it. That's it. And the last thing I want to say and give to y'all is, actually it's two more things. But the second to last thing is be intentional with the music you're listening to. Okay, that's an important thing. Be intentional with the TV that you're watching, the movies you're watching, like leave the world behind. Okay, now they got you manifesting the reality of the Civil War and all these different things, when really you need to be manifesting the vision of what you want to happen in 2024. Don't focus on what they want you to manifest. Focus on what you want, because they're feeding you all these different things. They're feeding you all these different narratives, but it's not in alignment with what you want. That's not what we want to happen, right? It may, people feel like, oh, it's just warning you about what's going on. But guess what? We collectively are choosing our reality. And that's the whole other topic. So I ain't gonna get too deep into that. But I just want to say, I'll give y'all this. Create or just get like some different pictures together and create a reel or create like a slideshow, whatever. All these different things may be a new car that you want. I'm just giving y'all examples. Whatever you want to manifest into reality for 2024, get some pictures together, create a slideshow, and every night before you go to sleep, you need to watch that video. Why? Because it's going to reprogram your subconscious to bring that reality forth. Okay? It's going to bring that reality closer to you. And the last thing, this is the last thing that I'm going to give to y'all, because that's what's going to tie all of this together. What you need to do is start a gratitude journal, because when you're grateful, that really shifts everything in your life. Because sitting in ungratitude, sitting in anxiety, sitting in worry, that is not creating the reality that you want, because the things that you think about, the things that you feel, you attract. So if you're attracting gratitude, guess what? You're going to get more things to be grateful for. And so those are a couple little tools and strategies that I want to give y'all in order to just reset for 2024. Okay. If you want to reset and get in alignment, get your mind, body, and spirit in alignment for generational health and wealth, the first thing you want to do, detox your body. Second thing you want to do, go on a cleanse and sit in stillness for a little bit. Last thing you want to do is just be grateful, and also bring together and put up pictures together about all the things that you want to happen for you, and watch that every night. Because guess what? Your subconscious, before you go to sleep, is very open. It's taking in all this information. So listen, all I can do is give y'all the wisdom and the knowledge, but it's up to y'all to take it And I can only tell y'all what worked for me, and it works. So I invite y'all to just start getting in alignment, man. It's that time. It's time for abundance. I don't know what y'all, but I feel in my spirit that 2024 is going to be just the year of abundance, the year of generational health and wealth, the year of just travel, the year of exploration, the year of joy, happiness, freedom. That's what I feel. And I send all these blessings and blessings to y'all so that y'all can receive that as well, because it's needed in its time. Okay, run the Jewelz.
Hey, you dropping a ton of jewels right there, Queen. When it comes to the wake up call, we got to wake up the sleeping giants and the kings and the queens that sleep.
Hello.
We did have one question coming for you too before we get ready to wind down with your final jewels, because I know we a ton of information on the audience today. But Takai asked earlier, how has isolation helped and harmed you, and how do you cope during isolation when you start feeling alone? So what would be your
this is a great question, because isolation has both helped and harmed me. Why? Because I found that when I would isolate, or I would say over isolate, like just do it too much, I wasn't able to see how far I've come, right? Like, it's like, how are you able to see your growth if you're not outside in the world experiencing and interacting with others to really see how far you've grown, right? But then at the same time, isolation has helped me because I'm able to go within and see what it is I need to work on. So I think that it's about knowing yourself, knowing when is the time to isolate, and knowing when it's time to go out into the world and prove to yourself, not other people that you heal, but see for yourself, how far have I really grown? What if I really accomplished? How far, do I have to go? And you only know that if you're out in the world interacting with others, So how do I cope with isolation? I'd say when I start to isolate and I'm not ready to go out into the world and interact with people just yet, the thing I will do is go out in nature and interact with nature. Like, I literally go out and like hug trees and I just be talking to the trees like they're people, and I just start to imagine, that when I go back out into the world, that the world will embrace me. Because I think for me, when I isolate too much, I start to think like maybe I'm not able to go back out into the world. And you start to doubt yourself, and be like, maybe I'm not ready, maybe I'm not ready. But if you start to practice, that's how you get ready. Practice makes perfect, and that's just that. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's a great question when it comes to the importance of knowing exactly how are we going to cope, as you mentioned, when we are in isolation and we start feeling alone, because a lot of people are those type of feelings during the holiday season, as we talked about, Queen, what met you. So that can also come from some of the foods or even some of the environments that we are in, which is why you're giving a whole ton of jewels of information to have people have that wake up, take themselves through the journey of life. And so we getting ready to wind down, Queen, but I want you to really quick, before we let you go, we've reached the part of the interview where we allow you to give the final jewels, which is the final jewel for thought that you want to leave with our audience. We talked about your journey into holistic health and wellness and being plant-based in the vegan community. I talked about, again, the 3 steps that people can take to, again, get themselves right for generational health and wealth in this new year. What would be a final jewel of wisdom, LaTajah, that you want to leave with the audience when it comes to building themselves up to generational health and wealth?
Yes. So my final jewel is that this journey is very difficult and you need support. At the end of the day, support is needed for anything. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're creative, whether you're professional, you cannot walk this journey alone. Whether you're on the path to wellness, whether you're not, at the end of the day, you need support, right? And so I would say find your people, find your tribe, find like-minded individuals that are walking the path that you're on, because it's gonna get hard and you need people to lean on to motivate you, to bring you back into that right mindset of why this journey is so important to you. Okay. And so I do want to say that I am starting a holistic habits membership for people that would like, to be supported on their journey. And so definitely tap in with me and follow me at Holistic Habits on Instagram so you can get updates on when it'll be released and everything like that. It's coming in 2024. So I'm so excited to be able to support others on their journey. Yes. And I just want to say much gratitude, much gratitude for this platform.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate you sharing all your jewels of wisdom. Y'all who are listening, you want to stay connected with my very special guest, LaTajah, who is on IG at _holistic habits. And you could tap in and see exactly all the great community and nation building work that she's doing in healing and also setting others free, especially from sickness, illness, disease, or infirmities. And we appreciate you, Queen. We always say a special blessing and a special prayer over any of our guests that come on the show. And so if this is your first time joining us, we always believe in sowing seed into good soil. All the names that you see at the bottom of the screen are ones that have sown into our movement. And so if you have enjoyed today's episode with myself and LaTajah, feel free to sow a seed. This is good soil, good ground. 3 ways to sow. You can either give a Cash App seed donation at SMART, SMART, JEWELZ, or you can click the link that we're dropping in the comment section to purchase some of our exclusive Prosper and Shine and Heal and Pray merchandise that we just launched last season for the RTJ show. Or number 3, you can become a monthly Patreon with us to get exclusive resources and also exclusive content behind the scenes for the Smart Jewels Network and also the RTJ show. But LaTajah, I'm going to say a quick prayer over you, Queen, if that's okay, before we let you go and enjoy the rest of the week in Miami. Wish I was in that weather, but I'll be there. I'll be there in the tropical Caribbean weather soon, though.
That's right.
I'm going to say a quick prayer over you.
Thank you.
I'm going to say, for sure, I'm going to say a quick prayer. Father, I just want to thank you for LaTajah. I thank you for her tenacity. I thank you for her empathy and her patience that you've just ingrown in her and continuing to develop in her in order to build up her business, her mission, her purpose, in order to help heal and show others the importance of when they heal themselves, that they can get into their divine purpose in you. And I thank you for her life and all those that she is able to touch, and even those that may not even have told her the impact that she's made in their lives just through her making a decision to do something different and also to set herself apart on this life journey. We thank you for this time of fellowship, this time of sharing jewels of wisdom with our audience, and pray that someone was able to grab a jewel or a nugget from today's episode, and that they will put in a chain of action to do better and also elevate themselves higher for the new year. I love you, Father. I praise you. In your name, I pray and believe. We appreciate. I know we'll be in touch. Enjoy the rest of your time in sunny Miami, sunny Florida. And again, y'all make sure you go and follow LaTajah on social media, on IG page at _holistic habits on IG. Shout out to you again, LaTajah. Enjoy the rest of your year, Queen, and we'll be in touch soon. Peace.
All righty. Thank you for that prayer. Peace.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon. Peace.
All right.
All right, y'all. I'm going to do a quick wrap up. Just some jewels for thought. You heard from my very special VIP guest, LaTajah, who was dropping a ton of jewels on the importance and so believe in, again, showing others how to shine bright in their career, in their profession, in their business, so that they are well equipped and well prepared to, again, walk in their purpose, walk in their mission, walk in their calling. And so if you are interested, we do provide services for content creators and for those who are entrepreneurs. And so we do have services for Smart Media Essentials. You can track any of our services by going to www.smartjewelsenterprises.org to see some of our services that we provide for media essentials for content creators, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. And we are powered by the Smart Jewelz Enterprise brand, which is, of course, the umbrella for Smart Jewelz Network. And you could support us today by purchasing some of our new merchandise. We just dropped last season a Create, Shine, and Pray collection. And then we have our Heal and Prosper collection and our that is all just the link that we're putting in the comment section below in order to purchase some of our new merchandise and support our international movement. And shout out to all of those who have already a part of any of our merchandise or any of our digital products. We could have the show in a podcast movement of success without you. And finally, feel free to track us and to also follow up with us via our podcast, the Run the Jewels Show, on any podcast streaming platform that you are on. You'll see this cover here, and you'll be able to track our episodes all the way from season 1 now to our current season that we are in right now. And so shout out again to all of those Smart Jewel listeners who have been tracking with us. We could not have made the show a success without you. Make sure you decide how you want this year to be different from the last. Again, last year is already over. This new year is upon us and is here. And so we got to do something different if we want to have different results, which means you have to decide, like LaTajah said, how do you want to transform your inner self so that you can, again, exude your outer wealth? And so make sure you are looking at things that need to transform and change in your life. Make a plan, track the plan, make smart goals, track the goals, and also make sure you are doing monthly evaluations of those goals to track what is to come. That you've been created to be, because to see and sense that it is within you. Stay connected with us on all Instagram and also on smartjewelsenterprises.org. You can follow us on IG at Smart Jewel Enterprises or King Jewelz Speaks, KINGEWELZ Speaks, in order to stay connected with us. And also, if you are interested in starting your podcast today, make sure you go to smartjewelsenterprises.org to see how one of our coaches and one of our staff can help you start your mobile podcast or your audio podcast today. I'm King Jewel signing off. Shine bright like the bright diamond jewel you were created to be. Shine bright, stay hydrated until the next time we meet again. Peace.